You see, the word spirituality, there are two words that I see in there. Spirit and ritual. That means within yourself, this is the spirit. The ritual is when this is expressed.
Today we have a very, very, very special topic, which is very, again, dear to my heart. This is the topic of spirituality. And we have a priest or a quit priest, Father Richard Ratari, who's going to unravel to us his experience as a priest and how he decided to leave the clergy. There must have been something unattractive to you about not wanting to be a leader in the church. What was that did not appeal to you?
I'm smiling because you are going deeper, which is something I needed to avoid. I wanted to avoid. I started to think about my life. I was starting to think about my life and then thought, well, I am a priest, then what next? And within the priesthood, what will be my growth? These guys, they're not having fun. I'm telling you, when the bishop is having his head and they look nice, those guys, but it is just that moment. I told myself that I need an exit strategy 5 years earlier. I want to have my life. I want to have my fun. I want to, without institution, constitution, anything. I needed to not be afraid of anything. This is what I have always wanted to be. I wanted to look nice and I wanted to enjoy life. I don't want to feel that being a priest, it's a place of being miserable. I want to be a happy priest.
So your spirituality was not an issue?
My issue was the fact that, am I going to die like these guys?
Welcome to the Growth Well podcast, where we tap into a well of knowledge, innovation, and leadership to fuel Africa's growth. Here, we explore thought-provoking insights and expert knowledge that empower individuals and businesses to thrive across the continent. Whether it's personal development or professional advancement, our conversations inspire action and impact. This is Growth Well, where ideas flow and growth begins. Let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode of Growth Well. I think we are on episode number 22, so we are ramming along. Today we have a very, very, very special topic, which is very, again, dear to my heart. And I think all of you will perhaps even connect to it. This is the topic of spirituality. Don't we all struggle with spirituality at some part or some stage of our lives? And we have a priest or a quit priest, Father Richard Ratari, who's going to unravel to us his experience as a priest and how he decided to leave the clergy. But before we do that, let's just relate to where spirituality comes from. Now, some of you who are readers of theology or philosophers will know of people like Thomas Aquinas, who talked about how the world is made of two components, the divine life and the life of rationale, as they said during the Renaissance period. In other words, there is a scientific part, but there's another part which talks to transcendence, which is what the two worlds that exist. And another one which I like to mention is St. Augustine, who talked about the city of man and the city of God. And those are, if you have that dichotomy, it tells you that even in the ancient times, the topic of spirituality has always been there. But you know that I talk a lot about happiness, and I like to add that all the surveys, or most of the surveys that have been done, have shown that the people who are happiest are people that had certain levels of spirituality or are religious. In other words, religious people or spiritual people are happier than irreligious people. That is why we have put this episode as part of health and happiness series that we've started. So we're talking about spiritual health, and that is why we've brought somebody who's gone through, you can call it maybe a bit of spiritual episodes that he wants to share with you, and hopefully you can relate to that. Importantly, because I'm an engineer, so I check science. So this scientist called Dr. Kenneth Kedler did a study in the 90s to ascertain whether spirituality comes with our genes. And I'm happy to say that he actually confirmed that 29% of our spiritualness comes with our genes, which was a very breakthrough study in the works of spirituality and religion. Another thing which is extremely important is that those people who are more spiritual tend to cope better with stress, better mental health, and they even said adolescents who have strong personal spirituality tend to resist or cope better with depression at 35 to 75% of the time. So you can see that there is a lot of benefit in investing in spirituality, and that is why with Growth Well, we brought spirituality before you. But before I go on too much, I've got company here, Ratari, and I'd like to introduce Ratari now. Welcome, my man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to this. And as I said, this is such a dear topic because, I grew up in a family of religion, spirituality, and we have something in common because I was grounded in the Catholic Church. But before we do that, if you can, I'd like to start on a very light moment just to ease our yourself and also our audience. And to say that I've talked a lot about aspects of happiness. And out of happiness, this year I've dedicated it to something that's very key to people's happiness, which is social connections and be able to connect with your friends, with your family. And out of all the things that make people happy, all the scientists have said, if there's something that's top of the list, is your connections with other human beings. And I'm mentioning it because we are living in a world, what they call, which is hyper individualistic approach to life, where you think, that is why we've got this epidemic of loneliness. So that's something just I wanted to share with you. Ratari can add from a perspective in terms of what he thinks. And one of the things, which is, it connects a bit to the church, because they say half the time why people enjoy the church is because of the fellowship. It's because of they go there for community, they connect with other people. So that's just a moment for me, a light moment for you to say, if you have that friend that you've lost for many years, give them a call, or a cousin you haven't talked to, just connect with your community, with your family. It will do you good. Ratari, your thoughts on that light moment?
Yeah, I will share my own experience in terms of what makes me kick, what makes me happy. You'll be surprised because personally, I love aesthetics. I love beautiful things.
Beautiful things.
Yeah. So, guys at the gym, they will ask me, Remana, what are you doing here? What do you want? Because we see that you have achieved your goal. Exactly. Yeah. I said, no, guys, I'm not here for health reasons, actually. Yeah, it's good to come to the gym for health reasons, but I'm here for the looks. Exactly.
You don't mess around with it.
I want to look good, man. I want to look. It makes me feel very confident and penetrate anywhere. I just walk into a room. I want to command with my looks without saying anything. I don't want to talk, but I want my appearance to speak.
Interesting.
And I start with myself. Then I also love to do it or see it in other people and appreciate. I like seeing beauty. I like seeing things in order. I've got some little percentage of OCD.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like seeing things in order. And as we speak, I've decided to be a florist. And now I'm a florist because I want to see beauty.
Associated with beauty.
Yes. So obviously I'm going to see it in people, in the society, in community, even if maybe somebody looks a bit ugly. But I want to see something nice, that something beautiful in that person.
Out of that
yes, person.
Yes.
So that's what moves me every day. I wake up every day in the morning to try to make sure I maintain this. And I want to see it in everyone.
That's wonderful.
Unfortunately, sometimes people are, maybe I'm naive. Maybe people don't return it, but I don't expect them to do that. But
that's your position.
That's my position.
Is it related to the fact that you got Rome? I mean, Rome is renowned for beauty and fashion and all those type of things.
Yeah, I want to thank the church. I grew up under the Italians.
And you have been to Rome?
Yes, I've been to Rome maybe
As
twice or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and at some stage I stayed for I think 2 months or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rome is beautiful. I want to thank the church to give me exposure of different countries.
Yeah.
Italy, Brazil, Spain, and
Tanzania. You've been to Tanzania.
Yeah, I lived in Tanzania and I speak fluent Kiswahili. So I've been exposed to, beauty.
Diversity of beauties.
Exactly. So I'm so happy. That is why I actually enjoy speaking Kiswahili than English or even Setswana, because I see the beauty and the substance in the language. Oh, beautiful.
Cool. Let's get to spirituality, my man. I'm sure you surprised yourself, apart from surprising others. And you'll tell us how long you've been in the priesthood before you decided to part ways with the church, specifically the Roman Catholic Church, of which, as I told you earlier, I was an altar boy. I got baptized, confirmation, and all the works. And we'll share more as we go along some of my challenges with all those things, how I tend to have outgrown that. And I mean, how dare you can quit a church with 1.2 billion followers? A church that's where as a priest,
yeah. Very interesting. But I will say I did not quit the church.
Okay.
I have resigned from the priesthood. And the priesthood has got what you call ministerial priesthood. And ministerial priesthood is when you are a priest there now, sharing the word with people and offering sacrifice, or what we call mass. Yeah, that is, I've resigned from there. But through baptism from
the administrative part of it. Am I defining it properly?
But through baptism, according to the Roman Catholic Church, we are all priests.
Okay.
Now there is what we call ministerial priesthood, which now you see priest ordained and do it particularly for that. So that is what I've resigned from. I still go to the church. I go to church, and guess what? I grew up in G West, and your mother, Makangwanyan, is the one who was our catechist.
Yes,
there.
I remember
she
that.
grew us up there.
Yeah, she built the church. I know she was a treasurer.
We were together there when we were building the
church.
The hall, first of all.
Yes.
Before the church was built.
Extension, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I grew up in that context as an altar boy and under Italian priests, and it was interesting.
What was the name of the father again?
Father Giuliano.
Giuliano, yes,
exactly.
I remember him, yes.
Father Giuliano is the one who actually, enticed us with a lot of things. We used to play there. We used to play table soccer and many other things, and he really helped us to see life differently. He used to even take us to South Africa to see other guys being ordained and to just be interested in the priesthood. So that's where I developed my, interest to become a priest. So when I finished Form 5, then I left for Pretoria, and I went there to study. And there's a 10-year program of studies before you become a priest.
10 years?
Yeah.
That's longer than medicine, isn't it?
I'm telling you. It is medicine. It's spiritual medicine.
Spiritual medicine.
Because you are going to be doctoring people. You really have to be a doctor of spirituality. You know what I mean? So, so I went there for 1 year. 1 year of orientation, not academic orientation. These guys, they try to they teach you timetable, they teach you order, they teach you how to pray, they teach you sequences, they teach you what is coming, and they also want to see if you can cope with what is next. So the first stage, just a young man. I was
in Pretoria now.
Exactly. I was 19 years old.
Okay, I was very young.
So, and I started to learn a lot of things. The context also changed. It was different, and even my style or way of thinking changed, and the environment was beautiful. So, and I also discovered a lot of things about myself, that I'm actually capable of certain things because of the environment, Yeah, obviously it's strict, no
nightclubs in Pretoria.
There is timetable. There is time to wake up, time to meditate, time to pray, time to eat, time to sleep, time to pray, all that. So there's no idling time. Yeah. So then after 1 year, we went to study philosophy. We had now we were becoming academic. We had to do a diploma in philosophy.
Okay.
And I went through that. We had to pass and get our diplomas. And from there, there's another year. We call it novitiate. Novitiate is
novitiate.
Novitiate. Okay. It's a year now that you are introduced to the institution that you have joined.
Okay.
Not necessarily the Roman Catholic Church, but the whole thing is vast. There's what you call diocesan priest. There's what you call a religious priest. So if you join the religious priest, there's where you are trained
compared to
diocesan priest.
Yeah. Okay.
So certain years they don't go through them. But when you go for religious priest, now the religious priests are those which you call missionaries that can go to any other country. But the diocesans, they belong to the bishop locally. So if you're a diocesan priest or you're a diocesan priest of Gaborone, you will only
reside there. Only. Okay.
But if you are a religious priest, you will now be transferred anywhere in the world. You
can spread the word.
Exactly.
You still use the word missionary.
Yeah. Yes, missionaries. Okay. Because you see, the word mass, it comes from mission, to be sent. So you can't detach from that word.
Okay.
Mission means to be sent.
Yes, on a mission.
You are on a mission.
On a mission, yes.
So every time you are sent somewhere, and if you are not at home, then you are a missionary.
On a mission.
You are a missionary. So there is a period of 1 year, we call it novitiate. And actually, I did it here in Botswana, not one. For 1 year, now you learn the constitution of that organization that you have joined. And then you also learn intensive prayer. Very serious. Now, you leave academics, behind, and then you concentrate. Because remember, when you start studying philosophy, now you start being confused. Those guys now, the philosophers that you have just
Aquinas
mentioned, Thomas Aquinas, Augustine, Plato, Aristotle,
all those guys.
All those philosophers now, they start confusing us. And they tell us that God does not exist.
Exactly.
Others, they say, no, God exists and stuff like that.
And so, people like Nietzsche who said God is dead.
God is dead. You have killed God, guys. So there's no way you can prove that God exists the way you are behaving. So your behavior is the death of God. So we have learned all these concepts in philosophy, and we always debate and argue, and we could even tell you that you do not exist. You can't even prove that you exist yourself. So we had this. So novitiate now will take you from that and say, no, come down, young man, come down. There's still a long way to go. And they teach you prayer now. You learn spirituality. You learn the writings of what you call the fathers of the church, what they have said before, how they have experienced God. So you start learning the confessions of Augustine, all those kind of things. Wow. Then you see the world differently, that different from your philosophy. You have that philosophy, but...
So philosophy is like the baseline, because you have to have the theoretical or literature type base. Yeah.
Exactly. The idea was to stretch your mind to be able to conceptualize what is coming in. Yeah. So that's what the church strategically wants to put in a young man who wants to become a priest. So from there, then you go back to another university. You do theology now. And our universities, we call them seminaries. So you had to study theology for 4.5 years. So you do bachelor's in sacred theology.
Okay.
So there are just thousands of subjects that you cover.
And where did you go for that one?
I was also in Pretoria.
In Pretoria.
There's a seminary called St. John Vianney Seminary.
Okay.
So I studied there. So there are a lot of professors there. Some are priests who are very, very academic. Some they are actually doctors of theology, doctors of moral theology. These guys are deep, and they speak different languages, Latin,
I'm sure,
Greek, Hebrew. They are deep, these guys. And even when they are lecturing new theology, they don't even come with an English Bible. They come with origins. they come with original Bibles. They tell you that those words don't really mean what this thing is saying. So that's why sometimes you wonder, somebody waking up in the morning, having the Bible in Setswana and start preaching to you. So guys, do you know these words, what they are saying? Are you sure you are called? Please, at least do some academic research, and then maybe you can start talk to the people. So we study for 4.5 years again, theology, with a lot of things and other people's religions, different types of things.
So you know how to compare and contrast with Islam, with and so
Buddhism,
Buddhism,
African
Judaism,
spirituality, and stuff like that. And also different aspects of God and creation, Jesus himself, we also split him in different ways. Christology, Jesus as Christ, Jesus as a person, Jesus as a Messiah.
Okay.
So there are just too many things. And also...
And the black hole. You do the black hole versus Genesis.
I'm telling you too. So it's just a lot. It's a lot. And we feel as well that it is not even enough. So yeah, I went through the studies until I finished them. And in the interim, the church will also give you some practicals. You go for internship, you go for what do you call diaconate. You go and serve before you become a priest.
Okay.
So you serve the people. They also test your character. They test how you are going to relate with the people. For 6 months or 1 year, you interact with people. You are a shadow priest.
Okay.
You are a shadow priest. So, and then when you are now ready, after a lot of scrutiny, because there are a lot of people that are behind you, that are watching you. There are a lot of priests around there who do give recommendations. Even school where you studied, there are a lot of recommendations to make sure that you are ready for the people. You are ready, and what you claim to have, it is true. So there are a lot of recommendations and reports about you. And then when you are ready, then they prepare an ordination for you. Then you are.
When did that happen for you? What year was that?
It was
when you
2007.
2007, when you ordained as a priest now.
On the 30th of June.
Okay.
Yeah, I was ordained as a priest in South Africa, in Hammanskraal, a place called
Hammanskraal. Yeah.
So I was ordained there. Actually, immediately after my ordination, I came home for 1 month. Then from there, immediately I was sent to Tanzania to work there as a missionary. And that time I didn't know Kiswahili. Those people don't speak many other language or English, no.
Just Swahili.
They speak Swahili. They call it lugha ya taifa, the language of the nation.
Okay.
So when you arrive there, you learn. And it took me 4 months to learn Kiswahili because I had no choice. I had to preach to the people.
In their own language.
In their own language. I needed to. Also, it was my first time to be a foreigner. And I had seen other guys coming from different countries, coming to Botswana and South Africa, and they don't know how to speak Setswana, what they went through. And I said, no, I can't go through this. I need to work hard as soon as possible and speak this language. So I worked hard. I joined the choir. I learned through the music. The music was repeated several times in my mind.
Yes, it helped you.
So the words were stuck in my mind through the music. Immediately when I knew what they meant, now, when I speak Swahili, you can never think that I come from Botswana.
Okay.
Even when I speak to the Kenyans, they know that I come from Tanzania. Until I tell them, yes.
The version of Swahili.
Exactly. They will know. Yeah. No. Are you a Tanzanian? I go, no, I'm not a Tanzanian. Okay. But I learned Swahili from there. So,
from there?
So then I served 2.5 years in Tanzania. And then I was transferred to Botswana. And I worked at the Cathedral of Christ the King here in Gaborone. Yeah. And for about 4 years, I think, at the Cathedral. And during that time when I was at the Cathedral, I decided to upgrade myself. I decided to study again. So I studied strategic management. I did a master's in strategic management with the University of Derby while I was still a priest and working there at the Cathedral. So I had no time to rest. So from there, after my graduation, then I was asked to take care of Ave Maria. The bishop had just finished building the Ave Maria conference center. So they asked me to leave the parish and work at Ave Maria. There. Yeah, so I did that for 2 years, from 2014 to 2015, as a managing director there. So now I was into hospitality and administration. Yeah, during that time, that's when I started to think about my life. It was now the time where I was about maybe five years as a priest or so. I was starting to think about my life and then thought to myself, okay, I am a priest, then what next? And within the priesthood, what will be my growth? What will change? Will I die as a priest? I've seen old priests, I've seen elderly priests, I've seen young priests, and I don't know how they are living their lives, but I want to keep on improving. But I don't want the next stage after being a priest to be a bishop. But I don't want to be a bishop.
Is it?
No, I don't want to be a bishop because, well, I had a privilege of being exposed to working with elders, with the bishops.
Yes.
Even when I was in Dar es Salaam, I had a close relationship with the cardinal there. And when I came back, Botswana, I worked with Bishop Valentine.
Even Stalakosi, you worked with him, isn't it? When he was going a bit into retirement then.
Yes. So we worked together. Actually, Stalakosi used to call me very much several times to assist him during the services, during Mass, his own services. So you asked me to preach during the services because also he was already elderly. So so I was helping him a lot. He was working here at Taung.
By Ramotso.
So most cases he used to call me because I was no longer in the parish. I was in
you are here nearby.
So every priest had access to me to assist them. So I worked there at Ave Maria, and during that time, that was the time for my reflection. Okay, now I am no longer so much into the people of God. Now, who exactly am I? And how do I want to become who I want to become? And what is it that I can transform about myself to be different? Okay, then I said, well, I will start first of all with my body. I was fed, very fed. I don't know if
I've seen some of the pictures.
I was quite huge.
There's a different you. It's a total different you.
I was quite huge.
No, but let's visit that moment. You said something about I don't know where you are saying now you are reflecting on working with the people of God. Mm-hmm. Is that what you said?
No.
And I want you to just unpack that a little
what
bit.
I was saying is that, remember when I was still at the parish, I was working with the people of God very closely. Mm-hmm. Now, after that, I was no longer so much close to them because I was...
because you were here at more on administration management levels. Okay, I got you now.
So my contact with people was very limited.
Okay.
And they wouldn't just...
Was that a contributing factor to your reflection, you think?
Yeah, it was important.
The fact that you are a bit distanced from interacting with congregants on weekly basis.
Exactly. It helped because...
it helped.
Yeah, it helped because now I was overwhelmed and I never had time for myself. That's where the problem is because now... Remember when you are a priest, you give yourself totally, completely. So in other words, the real self, it is hidden or it is suppressed, it's shadowed because it's all about how to serve the people.
Yes.
What are you going to say to them?
Preparation for Mass,
the homily,
reading,
and all
your
those
own meditation.
So it is all, but where you feature, no. You don't even have a personal opinion. You know that because if you...
Are you indoctrinated?
Yes. And
with Catholicism.
And that I understand. But the thing is that when you are a priest, you are representing a huge organization. So the word priest really means a lot. In other words, whatever you say, it is Father that has said this. It is not Richard. It is Father who has said it. It is a priest that has said this.
Yes.
That's why...
And it needs to be consistent across all priests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why, have you seen that you cannot see a priest interviewed anyhow, anyway?
I told you that I tried to call one.
Yeah, you can't.
One with no name. And he just stayed away.
You can't just, as a journalist coming in and say, Father, what do you think? Father, what do you think about this? No. You represent a huge organization. You can't just say, what do you think? It's, no, there's nothing that I'm thinking. There should be what do you call?
There's only one truth.
Exactly. Apart from the truth, there is a word from the church or the perspective of the church. So I can't have my own individual perspective. No. Otherwise, I will be misquoted. And like I'm saying, I'm representing a huge organization, so I can't just speak anyhow. Even when you are preaching, you need to be careful what you are saying. Because otherwise, what people do when you make a mistake, they put the picture of the Pope here and your picture. And they say the church says this. You see? That's so you become very careful. So
you started with the body.
Yeah, I started with the body. I said, no, I need to work on my body and try to look nice.
In simple, blunt terms, you were overweight at the time.
Yeah. I was overweight and I said, no.
An overweight priest.
this is just too much, guys. No. So I remember that day very well. It was on the 10th of March in 2014. Then I decided, no, I need to do something. So I went to the gym. I hired a personal trainer. We worked on my program and stuff like that. Within 3 months, we had achieved a lot, and I had dropped, and I was bulking nicely, and started to see, wow, actually,
I can look good.
I said, I can actually look good. I said, where have you been? Now, that was new me.
That was a revelation.
I'm telling you, I said, actually, I can do something about my life.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Then I said, well, what next? Then what I decided to do was to ride motorbikes. So
by the way, this guy looks good already. You should look how he's dressed and gym and trimmed body. So yeah.
So I decided to ride motorbikes. Still as a priest, I said, no, I'm going to do biking. So remember, I didn't have a congregation.
Yeah.
So I had time to plan my time.
Oh, you had a bit more time than... Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I went and, learned how to ride motorbike. I got a license and I bought a bike. I started riding. I bought... now, remember, my body is now good. I look good. Now I'm on to a motorbike. So I started to say, wow, actually...
Hey, this is getting better.
Life is not so much bad. Actually, you can actually do some other things with your life within the context of the church. Obviously, a lot of people were starting to...
That's what I was going to do.
They're starting to question the way I look.
Yes.
Is he a priest?
Yeah.
Other people were asking those questions. You understand? So... I said, no, guys, it's about my happiness. It's about how I feel. It's about, this is what I've always wanted to be. I wanted to look nice, and I wanted to enjoy life. I don't want to feel that being a priest, it's a place of being miserable.
Yes.
I want to be a happy priest. I want to serve you. When I serve people, I serve with joy, without a reservation, without thinking that, I'm just serving, but here I am miserable. No, I need also to enjoy.
I'm not my true self.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
I'm posturing.
Yeah, I was working on my true self. And then, so I continued to work there. And at some stage, I think after 2 years, I was called to come and serve in South Africa and Pretoria as well.
Okay.
Because my organization also wanted me. So they called me to go and work in Pretoria.
In Pretoria,
yeah.
Okay.
So I was working in the administration of the organization as well, and did a lot of work in different institutions, old age homes, schools, and stuff like that. So because of my educational background, so
you fitted very well with your strategic management
exactly,
and all that. Yeah.
My superiors wanted to engage me into different things, such as that administrative things and operational. And then in the meantime, the Bishop of Pretoria also asked my superiors for assistance in one of the parishes. So I worked in Mabopane as well. There was a parish called St. Mark. I went to work there. So even those people, I told them, guys, I have a lot of work that I do of operations and administration for my organization, but I'm here to assist you as your parish. So the best, I'll give you my best, but please don't demand beyond what I can give you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked also as a parish priest at the same time as an administrator there. So I had a lot of work to do. That, like I said, too much of social work. What do you call corporate social responsibility of the church and of the organization?
So, in spite of your new world of aesthetics and looking good and biking and gym and all that, you were still, that did not compromise the quality of what you gave to the church from a service and the role of a priest. That you still...
Actually, that gave me more confidence now. I was more confident now to stand in front of people and make them aware that, guys, even a priest I come from you guys. Even a priest can actually look nice, and it will actually... It made me feel like I'm able to offer more now.
I got you.
You know, so even, I tell you what, even my regalias of the church, what you call the alb and the chasubles, I made
They're
sure.
called chasubles.
Yeah, the one on top. They are different.
Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful. Those things are gorgeous.
Yeah,
It's called chasuble. I was
Yeah.
buying chasubles from overseas. I bought myself chasubles from Italy, from Rome, and from Brazil. Nicely designed, and they were particularly mine, those ones. So when I believed that it was a sign of respect when I go to meet the people of God in looking very nice, so that, they concentrate as well. You understand? So what I did is that, I would walk and go in front of the altar and serve people looking nice. I wanted to show them this thing actually is nice as well. You can actually appear good, clean and beautiful and gorgeous the way you want, and then serve them that way. So, and that did not compromise my job. And people that know me, that have encountered me, they know that I don't owe them anything. I've served them well. And if there is anyone, please feel free to share with me and tell me that where I've wronged you.
Yeah.
But, well, I did my part. As a human being, you always have your own challenges.
Absolutely. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
And when the moment hit you to say, now it's time, when did that happen? When you knew, I've reached a point of no return in terms of having to throw,
Yeah, like I said, it was a reflection journey.
So over a couple of years.
Yeah, for a couple of years. Yeah. Actually, I told myself that I need an exit strategy 5 years earlier, that I need to work on this. But I can't just jump out. I need to prepare myself for the outside world through education, through connection with people or network with people. And I needed to know that when I leave, what is going to happen? Where am I going? So that moment, I built it up when I realized that, okay, I've got the tools that I can use when I'm outside here. Because remember, the church is very powerful. The Catholic Church is very powerful. Even
sounds like an understatement. It is powerful, isn't it?
It's very powerful. That's what I'm saying, very. In other words, the way they train you to be part of them. So the philosophy, the theology, these things they are deliberate, such that you become irrelevant outside. You need to be inside. The education they give you, they can even send you to different countries, Israel, Rome, Canada, to go and specialize in one of these disciplines. And you can become a doctor of spirituality, doctor of theology, doctor of moral theology, doctor of whatever. But it is within the church,
the context of the church.
And then if you are not careful, if you go out, that context is not there. Even if you are a doctor of something, so what? You go back to the church. That's where you can actually apply that. So that's why myself, when I was still within, I had to study secular science. Strategic management, something that is very close to business, because I knew that I was growing up. And as you grow up, employment is something else. You need to be now creative and become an entrepreneur. So you need to listen to business language. So that was my point, that, let me study something that will help me either get employed or employ myself. So by the time I leave the priesthood, then I know that, I'm in a position to sustain myself. Because the church, like I said, they will do anything for you. There is a house for you.
They feed you. They do everything. You become really dependent on the church.
They will give you a car. They will give you a house. They will give you the context. It's fine. Whether you are happy with it, but they have given you. You understand? So they make you comfortable. Some, depending where you are in the world, but there are moments where you feel that, no, I think I'm fine here. You see, until you are transferred to another place. Maybe another place is not suitable for you, but what they do is basic things you will get. Now, when you leave, you're not going to get those things. So
you're on your own.
You are on your own. So you need to prepare in advance for your exit. That was my exit strategy, because I realized that, like I told you, in the church, when you are a priest, I don't know, what is the growth? The growth is only when you go to school, do academic, study this and that. That's all. So if And you can't also want to be promoted. It is not a sign of humility. You don't want to be, you can't show the signs that you want to be.
My career, I've reached a ceiling.
So,
Bishop, what's next for me in terms of the next level?
Bishop Zevo, you are a priest. What is your problem? You have arrived, young man. What do you want?
So even as a priest, you need to be content with what you're at that level.
Yeah.
If they decide where you are going to the next level, that's decisions even before.
You can't. If, for example, you can be at a rural parish. You can't go to the bishop and ask him, Bishop, it's high time now I go to town. No, it's not a sign of humility. You can't do that, man. You need to be careful. So, but human nature wants growth. Wants growth.
And exploration and curiosity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I said, well, I don't want to be some kind of a leader in the church. Being a priest is a leader already. But I want to be a different leader, or I need to contribute differently, not in the context of the church.
But there must have been something unattractive to you about not wanting to be a leader in the church. What was that did not appeal to you?
I'm smiling because you are going deeper, which is something I needed to avoid. I wanted to avoid it. Yeah, you're going deeper.
Yeah.
However, like I said, I was exposed to leadership. I worked with the superiors, the bishops, and stuff like that. Obviously, on a daily basis, we talk. I listen to them. I listen to what they complain about, which doesn't make them happy. Over the table, we eat together, we travel together, we do a lot of things together. And then we will speak like men, we will speak like human beings, we will speak so. Then I could pick in the language of the elders that, these guys, they're not having fun. These guys, they are not having the best. I'm telling you, when the bishop is having his head and is my what do you call
what do you call that stick that the bishop holds?
We call it crochet.
Crochet.
Yeah,
okay.
And this head is called mitre.
Mitre.
So those beautiful things, they look nice, those guys, but it is just that moment. But these guys are carrying big crosses. It's hard work because they are in charge of a huge diocese and in charge of priests as well. So the administration is just a lot, and they report to different structures. The embassy of the Vatican, we call it the ambassador of the Vatican. We call him the nuncio. It's a Latin word called a representative of the Pope.
Okay.
They report there. They report also in the Vatican. These guys, they've got a lot of work. So when
you no Sabatiro?
Not really. No, I didn't want to grow old like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I decided to package my life into different 20s. Because the first 20, the parents had to take care of me. Second 20, I was serving God and his people.
Okay.
Now the third 20, it's mine now. I want to have my life.
You wanted to own up your destiny. You wanted to own up your destiny.
Yes, I want to have my life. I want to have my fun. I want to, without institution, constitution, anything. I needed to not to be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not that you're afraid, but the law says this, then you can't do it, even if it is good. You see, so I said, no, I need to have to have my prime time. Because remember, I lost my prime time. The prime time from my age of
10 years 20, and all that. Yeah.
From the age of 20
at university. And
exactly. I lost that time. I lost my youth, and I had to be responsible from day one. So I don't know myself apart from being a priest.
So you only knew one version of yourself.
Yeah. So I needed to actually dig, and I'm working on it even right now.
Yeah.
To know exactly.
It's a continuous
to know exactly who I am without an institution, who I am without a constitution. Can I behave in a certain way without saying the law says I shouldn't or I should? You know? So that is what you call self-discovery and different self-discovery. Yeah. So that is the stage I am in now, my third 20. So this is the stage where I want to do anything anyhow and blame myself and reap the repercussions or consequences, whatever. I need to go through this. And I'm not saying I want to start misbehaving. You can misbehave anywhere. We have priests that are actually in prison. We have priests who are actually being, taken away from exercising the ministry because of certain behavior. So I needed to contain and be responsible of myself. You see, that is the stage I am in. And I respond to whoever is asking me any question.
But before you go on to the now, how did the exit process manifest? How did you negotiate your exit in terms of, you did say it's a very powerful institution.
Yeah.
So I'm eager to learn how that happened.
I see. Yeah, it's beautiful. Many people that encounter me, they will ask me that, how did you go? Why did you go? And what was the administration?
And apart from the administrative aspect, because this is a spiritual discussion, because I told you that I grew up in the Roman Catholic Church, King Cathedral, altar boy, confirmed, everything. We grew up under Father Slalokhosi when he was a father, and then we had Bishop Eben Charles Joseph Murphy. Even before when he was buried, I was one of the altar boys holding all this.
When the Pope came, were you not the altar server?
No.
1980 or something.
Yeah. So and as you said, then I became a student of science, because I did engineering.
Yeah.
And when now the concept of rationale and the concept of heaven and hell and all the scary things and the teachings, and so I went through what you can call, a very difficult time of spiritual redefining, which is difficult because we live in a very, and this is something that I wanted to cover, we live in a very conservative society. I mean, you don't just go to your mother or father and say, hey, by the way, man. It's not easy. It's not that easy. It will even be trauma.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful how you negotiate your exit or your new finding in life. And what the purpose of this discussion is to also help others that are struggling with their spiritual journey. Because from then onwards, after my experiences, then I started reading in a bit of theology, like the teachings of Aquinas, the teachings of Augustine, the teachings of people like Elian de Botton, who's a modern day philosopher on aspects of religion, William James, and all those type of things. Then you start finding where you fit, and that's liberating, and that is why I want. So when I'm searching what happened, I'm actually searching for your movements inside.
Spiritual turnaround.
Exactly, to hunt that thing. What has actually happened, because that's more important than the administrative or what happened. Yeah. Because that's what everybody struggles with. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. There are people that are, I've got a friend who's a confessed atheist. I know this whole thing about heaven, and we should wake up. So you meet different people. And a lot of people, I mean, he's a very open guy, but a lot of people who are not open, but they are struggling to with the whole concept of God and the whole shades of religious. He'll come.
Oh, that's deep. That's deep. But I'm going to make it very simple. Like I said, very deep, but I'll try to lighten up such that people can also understand it. You see, the word spirituality, there are two words that I see in there. Spirit and ritual.
Got you.
You get my point. Spirit and spiritual. That means within yourself, this is the spirit. Yeah, within yourself, there is you. There is your spirit. There is your style. There is your culture. There is your way of doing things. The ritual is when this is expressed. So you are performing a ritual of your spirit.
Okay.
Yeah, so then it becomes the spirituality. the spirit with a ritual.
With a ritual attached to it.
Exactly. So there is no spirit without a ritual. And let me tell you what. Ritual does not mean, I don't know what people think about ritual, but ritual, it's your style of doing things. In the Catholic Church, we call it liturgy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you wake up in the morning, you have your pattern.
Yes, your rituals that you...
Exactly, that's the beginning of your ritual, even when you sleep. So the way you put your shoes, where you are going to put your legs on, how you are going to make your bed, your style.
I got you.
So now it is now the expression of what is within you. So people think that spirituality is to listen to a certain voice coming to them and then you are now spiritual. No, everyone is spiritual. Whether you are man of God or you are not man of God or you are atheist, no. Even within your atheistness.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Are,
I tell this friend of mine that you are spiritual.
So,
because I think they get too hung up with opposing views.
Exactly.
I get it, yes.
What they do also is they attach religion to the spirituality. They've got nothing. They connect, but it does not. The other does not conquer the other. You don't have to be religious in order for you to exercise spirituality, your own spirit.
Yes.
Then earlier on, you talked about maybe you read a lot of things and then you choose where you fall.
So what talks to you?
Exactly. What talks to this spirit?
Exactly.
Now, how you are going to ritualize it?
Yes.
You are going to now have the ritual for that. So in other words, the way you are going to talk to us about it, the way you are going to behave when you go to your car, when you go to sleep, when you cook, that is the ritual being performed within yourself. You are expressing exactly who you are. Even if people term you as diabolos, you are performing a ritual of that devil inside you. So the spirituality does not also necessarily mean a good thing. It is you within.
It's the spirit
within yourself.
Whatever definition of that spirit.
And then you exercise it. Obviously, it will never stay within yourself. It will always be outside. And it will
manifest.
It will manifest and it will come through a ritual.
I got you.
I'm telling you. So what we do right now, the religions that we have adopted or that have adopted us are asking us to practice that which is within us in their ritual. You get my point?
Whether Protestant, Catholicism, Judaism, whatever shade.
They are saying
that's the ritual of representing or trying to express that spirit.
That spirit. So
there are different doors.
The religion is administrative part of the ritual within you. That's why there is a book to guide you. That book, it is I'm looking for the word. It is a manual. It is also a constitution. It is also a regulation. So to guide you on how to practice that one. Now, I will say, allow me to say, unfortunately, the Bible or other books, they have the spirit of other people and then how they practiced, how they ritualized their spirit, how they encountered their gods. It was put in a book and now you call it Bible. Because the whole thing, there are a lot of people who are in there. They are dead.
Yes.
Okay. And then
from Moses to Jesus to
everybody's
Paulus
dead.
And
now
all those.
You have your own people where you come from. And they are dead. It's just that you didn't write them. You didn't write a book about them. And they are not captured in a book. How did our forefathers encounter God? That is our story.
I hope. We're going to get to the ancestral and the what. But I remember I'm still wanting you to link your exit in terms of spirit and duality and how you decided that window of ritual was perhaps not as relevant to you at your growth point at the time. Are you still coming to that? I want you to...
let me just jump into it because now... it is, like I said, it's easy for me to jump into it, even though maybe it's a big phenomenon. But the thing is that when I was a priest, I've been a priest for 11 years, practicing almost the same thing. The Catholic Church has got what you call rituals. even that,
like the 7 sacraments. Yeah.
Even the sacraments, they have to be a ritual to perform them.
I got you.
Even the Mass itself, we call it the rite of the Mass. The rite is R-I-T-E, a ritual. So it is a ritual. So for me, I've been there, done that. What next? So I still have my own. Can I practice differently? Because in the church, they will not allow me to practice it.
You can't express.
Because there is a structure that you should follow. I cannot express.
Supported by a book
exactly.
called the Bible.
And very clear. And very organized. Then this is how you shall do it according to us. Now, if you have your own personal one, it won't. So now I had my own personal one that I needed to practice. And I had to say, guys, I think this one I've done enough. I've done it, and this is it. There is no climax or anything. I'm here. That's it. And I'm going to die like this. So I need a time to explore now my personal one.
Okay. Simple as that.
As simple as one. And then to do that, I know the church will not allow me to do that because the church has got template.
Yeah.
And then mine, I need to be a bit wild. I need to express it.
A bit flexible.
Flexible.
Yeah. Before you become too wild.
Exactly. You are trying to romanticize it. No. I'm becoming rough deliberately so that people also don't try to interpret it. No, it is there. I want to be rough. I want to be
rough on the edges.
Exactly.
And explore yourself.
Explore myself without being questioned.
Correct.
Without
being limited by the rigidity of a structure.
Okay. Because
was it well received? Because it's a very important question because it's now to do that you come from a spiritual realm, for lack of a better word, and you are evolving because, like I said, the spirit is still there. Now you have a new spirit that you want to express through different rite or ritual.
Yes. You understand. Exactly. Now you're getting my point. Expression of this. So you can't just express it anyhow when you are institutionalized or you are in the institution. So therefore, I had to find my way. I needed to explore my love of aesthetics.
I got you.
You understand?
I got you.
That's where I come from. My love for aesthetics. The way I want to look, the way I want to appear. Guess what? I want to be a model. I don't mind. I even once went to...
Well, you look like a model already, isn't it? I'm sure a lot of people give you that feedback.
Can you imagine a priest in that? You can't. And there's nothing wrong being with model. But there's something wrong with it when you are a priest. You see what I mean? So I even went to South Africa and signed with a modeling agency.
Okay.
And unfortunately...
That's after.
Yeah.
That's after you left, yes.
Yeah. And it's just that most of what I'm doing in Botswana, so it is difficult to often go there.
Yeah.
So I've got access to these things. So I want to do these things without being judged. And these are the things that makes me kick. And then when
they give you fire under the belly.
I want to have fun.
Fire on the belly, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I'm happy. You haven't answered me.
So,
what's that worry? Because you are operating in a game of religion and spirits, when somebody evolves like yourself, because this is a very important question because, a lot of people not just say resigning or exiting from a religious institution, but even resigning from anything because of things from within. For me, it's obvious that if you are wanting to express yourself, how we express a thing, perhaps naively it will be well received. That's why I go, was it the structure say, that happens,
Yeah, it was a challenge because now, even if we are trying to run away from it, it's quite administrative as well. I needed to write a letter and share with my superiors. And then I told him that, this is what I'm feeling right now. And I've been working on this for 5 years. So I don't expect you to respond or do anything within 5 minutes while I worked for 5 years preparing this. So this is my situation. And it came as a shock to Father when I told him that.
That was when you were in South Africa.
In South Africa, I gave him my letter. He read my letter, and it came as a shock. And immediately he phoned Rome, and to ask
Houston, we've got a problem.
We have a problem. Rome is where our major superiors are.
I know.
Yeah.
Vatican.
So, not necessarily the Vatican,
but the headquarters, whatever it is.
Of our organization. So we had to phone, and that time, they wanted to talk to me. He also suggested, "Are you okay? Can we take you to Rome maybe for 6 months to?" No, guys, you can't be having a resolution right now within 5 minutes. I'm not saying I'm going through problems. I'm not going through any challenge. I've gone through my reflections. This is what I've come to think.
My stage in life.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm having a problem, then I'm quitting.
Yes.
I'm not quitting because I'm angry. I'm not quitting because there's something that has injured my feelings around here. No, not that I'm angry with the priesthood or anything. No, I think I've reached this stage where now I think there's no growth. I'm looking for another growth or another context that I will discover who I am. As simple as that. And I'm telling you, if you take me right now, put me at the altar, I can celebrate Mass and preach and do anything. Just to show you that, no, this thing I know it.
You're still learned. You are learned.
You are learned. I can do this thing.
You've crafted.
So what I'm saying is that been there, done that, and there's nothing special over it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like when you leave the priesthood, it's like you have left God.
Or you're abandoning everything.
No.
Yeah. So your spirituality was not an issue.
It wasn't an issue. My issue was the fact that am I going to die like these guys, without knowing who exactly I am? Because what I know right now, I know that I'm Father Richard, I'm a priest. That's all. And unfortunately, there's a title attached to my personality, and I cannot express my personality, whether I like it or not, in this context.
Okay.
There's no way. And I'm not going to do whatever I want in this context. So, and I'm dying to have that moment.
Now, Rich, before guests come here, you saw a couple of books, a bit of research and all that. And when I checked, and we checked with my team, going through the net in terms of the feeling about Catholicism, and the Bible and interpretations. I bumped onto people like you. I bumped onto people who have dedicated their lives to debunk the contradictions of the Catholic Church and the Bible, including the 7 sacraments. I mean, one of the things that talked to me, for instance, was the baptism of infants. When someone has got no conscience to be able to say, I live by the Lord. And later they found out that they were baptized, but they actually think that was wrong. And there are also a lot of controversies around other sacraments, as you may know. So I wanted your feeling around the original. The other thing that also sort of ticks me is that, Christianity is a historic religion. It only started 2,000 years ago. Whereas there are other things that were there. So that was also preoccupied my mind to say, obviously, with Jesus coming into the party and and Paul coming to spread the word, and even without the works of Constantinople, we perhaps would not have Christianity the way it is if he had not converted.
Exactly.
Because in other words, there were historic moments that defined how Christianity manifested, and obviously there was a lot of interpretations and the Catholic Bible, how it was structured. And I'm just keen on your views to say, was that also a contribution? Because a lot of these priests and even nuns that exited, they related to finding it difficult to associate. They almost, they found a new salvation. They found a new way of interpreting. They were still spirited, but they could not find a home in the Catholic Church.
Sure. You see, the question you are asking, it's it needs a whole session on itself. This is too deep.
Yes.
But I'm going to try to summarize a few things. One, the Catholic Church, it's a very learned institution, and it has got thousands of universities, and in different countries, including in Israel. Our priests that study scripture, they even go to Israel and start to what you call the Holy Land, to go and study certain historical moments, even
the archaeological. Because I've been there to Jerusalem, Golgotha, and all those places.
The doctrine of the Church and the theology of the Roman Catholic Church, it is not haphazard. They worked hard on it. Now, the simple answer to you is that the Church believes that there are three sources of the truth: the tradition, the magisterium, and the scripture. I'm not putting them in any sequence. You can say scripture. Scripture will mean the Bible.
The Bible, yes.
And the tradition and the magisterium. The tradition, it means things that have happened and they are not written in the Bible. Things that have been practiced that are not written in the Bible. And then magisterium. Magisterium means the teaching of the church, what the church believes in, even if it is not written in the Bible. So what we so-called fundamentalists are people that believe only in the scripture, that's all. If the Bible doesn't say it, you cannot know. But the Catholic Church has got this. The scripture, the tradition, and the magisterium, the teaching of the church. In other words, as the scholars of theology or scholars of the church sit down, your so-called Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine and St. Anselm, St. Benedict, all those guys, when they come with a reflection after they see something in the Bible or they get some inspiration and they speak, and then the church will say, no, we adopt the words of this man.
Yes.
So there's what we call faith of our fathers, the writings of the fathers of the church.
That's how they became saints.
That's what we call the traditions. Then from there, the magisterium, the church will now have a document, even a constitution, and say, guys, as the church, this is what we believe in. Fine. So all these are the things that are driving the Roman Catholic Church. This is what makes it different from other denominations or other. So it is not only the Bible. So if you are looking for the truth from the Bible only, and they say, no, when the church speaks like this and you say, where is it written in the Bible? You are going to find it.
Yeah.
When the church says we baptize infants, and so where is it in the Bible? You are not going to find it.
Yeah.
But the church will read the Bible and interpret. And they will say, okay, we believe that in the event that the child dies and is not, we believe that there is salvation in this baptism. So let's baptize them. Then in the event that the child dies, this child dies as a Christian, because baptism makes you a Christian.
Yes.
You understand? So the baptism does not put any theology in your head, because even if when you are grown up, it is not going to put it on your head. So the church will say, no, we believe in this concept of salvation, and this salvation must begin from the womb to tomb. The moment you come out, we baptize you so that you become part of us immediately. And it makes you member of the church, member of the Christian family. So it does not really, there are a lot of concepts associated with that. There's what we call original sin, all those kind of things. That's what I'm saying. If it is about this, you really need a session for 2 hours, and you need to speak to now an advanced priest to unpack all that. It's just a lot. So we can't do it on a surface level.
We won't do it in justice.
So that is what I'm saying. I'm just giving you the three concepts that nobody else has except
the fundamentals of it.
Exactly, except the Catholic Church. So we are not even shy to say, no, we also believe in things that are not written in the Bible, which our forefathers have practiced, which is a tradition, which actually, as Africans, you actually are close to. Because tradition, the word tradition, it comes from Latin, tradore. It's that which is being handed over. Yes. So, Rona, as Africans, a lot of things have been handed over to. That is our tradition. And the church is not against that, because it is what they believe in as well. So the Bible just came in and it started to rubbish tradore. It started to rubbish our tradition, which actually should be the first thing. And then when the Bible comes in, we have to ask it, how does that relate with our tradition?
How does it talk to
Our tradition.
our rituals?
Our rituals.
How we express our spiritual nature.
And then because we also see rituals here in the Bible. Your so-called God instructed your prophet Moses and everybody,
when Abraham was put in the sun
to do these rituals. How is it a problem when we do them ourselves? Why are you Christians? Why are you Christians saying we are baloi or witchcraft something? Actually, I learned from one of the speakers. He said, witchcraft, it's a question.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. In other words, the missionaries and other people that came to us did not know our craft, our rituals. They will start asking, which one is this one? Because we are used to a different one. Which craft is this one? And then it was now badly labeled that it is a witchcraft. No, actually it's a question. What craft are you using to adore or to worship your own gods? Why is it different from ours? Of course it has to be different. We are from different traditions. So it's just a huge spiritual, my God.
So, Rich, what's next for you now as we come towards the end in terms of your spiritual, on the ritual side, discovery? What's happening? We've talked about the people like, we've talked about Maponga. We've talked about, there's a lady called Dr. Chabalala in South Africa who is becoming very influential around the growth of African spirituality. And why did we have, when the missionaries come, suppress who we were to adopt, not that these are wrong, but why did we have to suppress ours for the sake of what the missionaries brought in? So the question is, having rediscovered yourself, how does this play out to you? Because you keep mentioning our traditions and the looking down upon that tradition and all that. Dr. Sabala likes giving one example, to show how colonized we are and how the missionaries have been so effective. Out of the 54 countries in Africa, only one country, when there's an opening of parliament, they also respect the African religion practice at the opening of parliament. God bless you, Bara, why Israel?
Exactly. I don't know where to start, but we are wrapping up, I'm sure. The thing is that the way Christianity was brought to us, I'm looking for the best word, but it was not really pleasant. We were not given a chance to say we have our own. We were not even given a chance to say, no, we can't. We were forced, actually, to have it.
Just like Muruti Hambira also confirmed, for the missionaries, it was a really bad experience.
Yeah, there were missionaries and mercenaries. And then we lived with fear. And if our fathers lived with fear, and if they didn't have to follow this God, there was fear that they would be killed. And which happened. The history tells us that our people are all over the whole world because they've been taken away. And let me tell you, these people were together, the missionaries and the mercenaries. And they never even blamed each other. The people that were in the ships traveling with our people and throwing them in the sea, they were carrying the Bible. They had a moment of prayer within the ship, justifying themselves that actually the people they are having, they are just animals or slaves. And maybe their God believes that it is fine for them to do that. You understand? So we were forced to believe in these foreign religions that came to us. Right now, we have mastered those religions. Now, we are even fighting against each other through those religions. We haven't even gotten a chance to defend our own. Now, because ours is not written and nobody actually proclaimed it anywhere.
Yes.
It's unfortunate. At the same time, as Africans, we were very clear. Each tribe had its own people, its own ancestors, its own traditions. That is why, Mr. Khawanyan, if you leave this place and go to North and try to get married there, they will tell you what they do and what they want. If you don't want, go back and marry your sister or marry from your tribe because you have your own ritual as a tribe on how to get married to a woman. But in Skalaga, this is how we do it, and you shall do it. So these things have happened, and these are traditions that we have gone through. Right now, we have our own ancestors, but the Bible comes with its own ancestors inside. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Can't I have the God of Rathari, the God of Rabkhadi, the God of Kibaka, the God... I'm speaking my lineage now.
Yeah. More roots.
You understand?
Mina train.
You understand? So can't I speak and start chanting my my genealogy and say these people encountered their forefathers this way. They encountered their God this way. Why am I supposed to adopt the genealogy of people of Israel? Where even Jesus himself on Matthew chapter 1, even Mark chapter 1, they speak about his genealogy.
All the way to David.
All the way to David. No, Abraham. The other one says all the way to Adam. You understand how this guy came to be. And all of a sudden, it's fine with that. And then we adopt that. And most of you guys, if you say, okay, chant your
genealogy.
We
struggle.
At least 4 generations.
We struggle. But our fathers and grandfathers...
because that's how, then the Bible is a package of that. Of the genealogy, the ancestors, the traditions, and how they encountered God. That's all we have in the Bible. Including Jesus, when he was brought as a Messiah, he also expressed how he encounters his own God. And his traditions, they taught him, the so-called the Baitsi Dikwalo, the elders of the Israelites, they taught him as well. Why do we start knowing most of the works of Jesus when he started turning 30 years old? We only know when he was 12 years old, when he was an infant. The period of his teenagehood until when he was 30, it is very difficult to identify.
It's almost blank, yes.
Because he was busy with the traditions. He was being taught.
Groomed
according to his traditions. And it is according to the book. Now, according to us, we have also different. I come from Mankhodi. Bahurutsi have got their own. Bangwatu, they have got their own. Even if we are interlocked, but we know we have their own. What's wrong with that?
Good. Like I said, we're going towards the end, but we can't end without talking about your very candid guidance, advice. A lot of the young people struggle with spirituality. A lot of young people, I'm saying because I asked them, they struggle with the current religious structures. Like, we've talked about the Roman Catholic. There's obviously a Zion Christian Council. There's the Dutch Reformed Church. And, they ask you, why is a church in the middle of Muchudi called the Dutch Reformed? Can you have a Bakata Reformed Church right in the middle of Stellenbosch? That's the thing. It talks a lot to the psychology of our people. So how do from your experience in terms of spirituality and a young man who's 15 or is 20 and is trying, and I'm sure it's another big question that we perhaps need another one, but how would you, from your experience, how would you guide them? Because from this podcast, it's a very growth-focused podcast. I want someone to pick something and say, with that, I can reflect and start here and there.
I have a simple answer. As a question, it looks big. Fine, but this is my simple answer. Go back to where you come from. Go and look for where you come from. Where do you come from? Who are you? who gave birth to you and who gave birth to the one who gave birth to you, the one who gave birth to the other. Who are you? And try to discover the behavior of your family. Where do you come from? What did they believe in? Why are you who you are? Why did they give you your name? Why is your name English or Setswana? Why? Start with yourself. Try to find exactly your identity without external things coming to you, without the religion, without the Bible, without books of so many people, without social media.
Yes, yourself.
Go back, ask your mother, who is my father? If he is there. Where does he come from? What is his origin? Am I having the genes of those people? Why do I behave like this? I'm sometimes shocking myself with the kind of behavior. Is it mine? You know, sometimes the doctor asks you, do you have any history of this disease in your family? That question talks about your ancestors. It talks about where you come from. It talks about exactly who you are. It talks about your blood. That do you have? Is there anybody who is diabetic at your home? Is there anybody who is hypertension, whatever you call it, high blood, hypertension,
high blood pressure, hypertension?
So the doctor is trying to address exactly where you come from, who you are, and then as young people should not say, no, yes, you are your own person. You can't say no. I'll find my own way. No, you have an origin. Now go back and try to originate yourself and find where you come from and see maybe where the loophole was. And then the other thing is that you remember you have been socialized. The society around you, what did they say to you? How did they say? Do you find it right? Do you think it is wrong to have socialized you this way?
In a particular way.
In that particular way. So, yes, you can read books and read Bible and read whatever, but try to find yourself inside.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got
you. If you can read the Bible not necessarily as a book of God. You can read the stories and say, okay, I see how Job encountered this thing. Maybe I can use this story. Not that the story is demanding me to do. No, I'm learning. Sometimes you need to take it as a book. Not as a word of God. Because if you put a word of God, maybe it might be instructive to you.
Yeah.
It might be too powerful and might have authority over you. But read and see if there's a story that you relate with. But it makes sense to me. At this point in time, after studying theology and many other things, at a lighter stage, I still can't refer to the Bible when I am in a debate. No, I can't do that.
Because I don't believe that you should.
In a certain debate and say, but even the Bible say this.
Yes,
no, guys. The moment you divert, it means now you are saying we should now start believing, all of us should believe in the Bible.
Correct,
now it has to instruct this debate. Then you are out completely.
And that's the restrictiveness of current African position.
Yeah.
Because you can, even the politicians, if they want to encourage or seek buy-in from the electorates, they start saying,
the Bible
this Bible is saying.
No, guys, please. I don't know. But anyway.
Because we don't have our own true north.
Exactly.
We have lost our true north.
Tell me what your forefathers used to say.
Yeah.
That maybe I will understand. But I'm not, we call it a fallacy of authority. In other words, you are bringing something authoritative to try to to make you think that it is right. It is a fallacy. Debate and say, no, this thing doesn't work, it works. And if you are employing something authoritative, then it's like you are saying, no, call your father. And he comes and says, no, this is rubbish, without arguing. That's all. So what I'm saying is that to you young people out there, guys, it looks like, out of my observation, we have lost who we are.
Yeah.
We don't know. We consume things we don't know. You know, even what we eat, the food that we eat, try to see
if our own stuff.
Try to see if it actually blends with your origin.
That's correct.
Sometimes you become overweight or you get sick because you are eating the food that does not belong to your lineage.
Simply because it's advertised on foreign television and you think it's funky to have McDonald's.
Oh my God, it does not belong to your blood group. It does not belong to your lineage.
Hallelujah.
Your forefathers never ate this thing. It was dangerous for your group. So I'm not saying you don't have to explore. You can explore. You can eat.
But know what's dangerous for you.
For you.
It's interesting because one of my favorite philosophers, Martin Heidegger, the German guy, he argues that he has this concept of thrownness. In other words, we are thrown on earth. Once we are thrown, we should know that we should be able to find your own destiny. without just automatically accepting what's there as you wake up.
Find yourself there and try to survive.
Exactly.
Eventually, he's right. Eventually, you should now coin yourself and say, now this is who I am.
That's exactly who I am.
Yeah.
But we are thrown in and we just adopt what's there.
Unfortunately.
And people,
that's why we have concepts like white people and black people. These things are social concepts. They've got nothing to do with the color or the skin. You are told that, you are black. When you wake up as a child, you are not black. You don't know who you are. But you are told that you are black.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's a race. And the child is told he's white. Until his parents, they say, no, you are white. Those ones are black. The child starts to change.
And you are very white. You are very white compared to the frictions.
The children start to change their
behavior because their perception of other people. Because they say we're different.
Yeah. Who told them?
It's interpretation.
Oh my God. And it's got nothing to do with your biological makeup or your
pigmentation or whatever.
It's got nothing to do with your nature. So,
Mona, thank you so much. This has been quite revealing. And I hope, I know we had a chat and you're worried about how this might be taken. No. But I encouraged you to try and, you are not getting in any institution. You are not being disrespectful to anybody. But I think in a Botswana and African context, we've got to face the difficult subject. Exactly. I think this continent deserves that. And I think thanks to your contribution, this guy that I talked about at the beginning, Dr. Kenneth Kendler, he confirmed from his studies with a lot of identical and fraternal twins that 29% of us are spiritual. Like we said, whatever spirituality.
For me now it's 100%.
So we are a spiritual people. And that's been proven for thousands and thousands of years.
For me, it's 100%. And whether you like it or not.
Exactly. So that is why for this, what we discussed, is now important for people to freely explore the spirituality, what it means to them. Yours is being able to be a bit more adventurous. You mentioned the word a bit wild, aesthetics, express it a bit. And it's just beautiful when everybody is flying in terms of who they are.
Thank you
How
so
was
much.
that summary?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And this is very interesting. And, you are, let me say, the first person to actually unearth what is within me. And I've been also afraid to speak to the public because of where I come from, my context and stuff like that. I will say not necessarily afraid, but reserved. But you have made me more freer now. And this podcast, has, I'm sure, it has opened my horizon. I will be able to speak anyhow the way I want. And at the same time, I think I'm interested in coming again. We'll discuss other concepts.
To dig deeper. You kept on saying, that one needs a bit of another hour itself.
Deeper things like marriage, to see if is it relevant, is it necessary, where does it come from, and all those kind of things. We will talk about those things.
They say marriage has not been upgraded for 1,000 years. But they say Microsoft, you get upgraded to 0.1 to version 1, but marriage remains.
Those are things that we need to unpack. But thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, my man.
Yeah.
And all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much.
There you go. I hope you learned a lot. And thank you. And please do the needful in terms of sharing, subscribe, please. And let's get this followership and get more and more people impacted by this podcast. Thank you very much. And see ya.